Hello, my name is John Hogan, and I want to describe leadership in a very short video because the definition is sometimes elusive. What is leadership anyway? Organizations struggle with it, individuals struggle with it. I want to give a quick, concise definition of what leadership is. It starts with the idea that we have followers if we're a leader, and we need to be able to identify those followers. Leadership is based on the word lead. Lead is a verb. So, putting those together, we're taking followers from here to there. As basic idea of what leadership is. Let's add some additional meat to that description. The leader has to have a clear idea of what the current situation is and be able to express why we must leave. And the leader must have a vision for the future of who, what, when, where, and why, and especially why. Why we must get there. And followers must be able to understand the two ends of that trip, and the leader has to be able to explain the two ends of that trip. Now, to get from here to there, the leader needs a map or a model of what approach will be applied to affect this change to go from where we currently are to where we need to be. So maybe at this point is a quick, simple example. A high school football coach. Here is a losing season. There we want to have a winning season. That coach would really have to understand what are the issues we have in not being able to be competitive in this league. Let's just say it happened to be that the team was not strong enough physically, fast enough physically. This model for change would be strength training, running program, exercise, nutrition, and that would be the way, the what, that's going to get this team to a winning future. So there's some map or model that the coach is going to apply. Now, the leaders, the followers have to buy into that leader's model for change, so they have to do it with logic, and they have to do it emotionally buy into it. And that example I just gave, if the map or model was this idea of health and fitness and nutrition, and the coach was going to join the students in that approach, and during that season, there could certainly be an emotional bond on how we're going to improve our fitness, and it's going to be a lifelong journey that we're going to start on. And what you'll learn this season is going to be beneficial for you for your entire life. That would be a way to generate this emotional bond that the coach would need with the students, with the players. We still need to add one more dimension, is that in the day-to-day journey of getting to the end state, the leader must influence. And there are multiple ways to influence people. Here's just shown several of them. Reciprocity, to do something outside the norm for someone. The idea is that they will be willing to follow you if you do that. Empathetic, active listening, generating an emotional bond. Oratory, certainly in the case of a high school football coach, the win one for the Gipper speech. Meeting facilitation, how the team meetings are run. These are all ways to influence people. So let's just shrink those down and add them to this overall picture of what leadership is. We're taking followers from a current situation, which we can articulate all the details of, to a future that we can tell them why it's going to be beneficial to get there. We have a model or a map of how to get there. The followers see the logic, and they're emotionally bought into the journey we're going to be on. And we have influencing techniques that we are applying on a daily basis. So I call that proof of leadership, that the leader can define who the followers are and do all these things. And when it gets down to the emotional side of things, the leader has to say, are they just pushing emotional hot buttons, or have the followers really bought into the leader's passion for change? Again, these would be the proofs that leadership is being displayed by this particular person. We talked about the high school football coach. Let's look at an iconic leader. So Martin Luther King, with that dimensions of the proof of leadership. The followers, 1 million people on the National Mall, well-founded beliefs about the current situation, racism, war, and poverty are so detrimental to America in the mid-60s and still. Clear vision of the future. One day the nation will live out its creed, all men are created equal. A model for change, nonviolence. The people share the leader's passion for change. They could at least see it with the courage he displayed. What influencing techniques? Well, one that he certainly was extremely excellent at was oratory. Let's check this proof of leadership concept against Lincoln. The followers, the Union Army, beliefs about the current situation. What was inherited from the American Revolution and the Founding Fathers will not be lost. Vision for the future, government of the people, by the people, and for the people, basically not disturbing what was inherited from the Founding Fathers. The model, war, and as much war as it took to keep the Union together. This idea of did the followers see the logic? He put together a team of rivals to make sure that the logic of his situation or his approach, his vision, could be understood from multiple dimensions. And again, influencing techniques, a great writer, also the Gettysburg Address, second inaugural, great at oratory. Let's look at Trump. Now, I'm not a follower of Trump, but I'll use this proof of leadership to say why and what Trump would have to do to get me to follow him. He has his base, I'm not a part of it. Leader has well-founded beliefs about the current situation. I don't think he understands healthcare, and he said as much when he said healthcare was more difficult than anyone thought. It was certainly more difficult than he thought. Tariffs, I don't understand all this agita on tariffs. We go from NAFTA to something that looks a little like NAFTA that he's touting as being his own. Immigration, I don't see the data and deep understanding of what the real issues are of integration. Vision, make America great again, I have no idea what that means. Model for change is that a business person, him, can bring the political class to heel. And I think that's been obvious that he cannot. He does not have the political skills that are required to foster any significant change. Logic for change, well, the base buys it. Is the leader just pushing emotional hot buttons? Well, that's his modus operandi. When he talks about immigration, he just talks about crime and just horrible descriptions of activities that are just articulated to push people's hot buttons, not to explain in any detail what the real situation is. Do followers share the leader's passion for change? Well, his only passion is for himself. He's a narcissist, and how would I ever be interested in forming an emotional bond with someone that's a narcissist? And what influencing techniques does the leader employ? He employs tweeting. So why would I want to follow someone that tries to influence me with tweets? It's just never going to happen. Now, Trump has to, if he wants to win, he has to convince the center, I think, of America that he actually has answers for these dimensions of leadership. I don't think he will. Whether the Democrats will, that's another story. So your proof of leadership. Who are your followers, whether it's customers, your peers, the people that report to you, or your managers? Can you answer all these dimensions of the proof of leadership? And I'd suggest going back to this part of the video when all is said and done and see if you could write a paragraph about each of these dimensions that proves that you understand and are answering these elements of the proof of leadership. There's my contact information. If you have interest in this topic, I'd love to hear what your take is on some of these ideas. And I wish you good luck if you're on a journey of leadership individually or for the organization to which that you support. Thank you.